Hello everybody, Andy here from Glass Half Dead, the #1 kill team channel on YouTube, unless of course you are of any other channel on YouTube, in which case, don't talk about it, alright? Anyway, so today I want to talk to you about a conversation regarding upcoming kill teams. I did put that in the thumbnail, so you can't say I'm clickbaiting you in here. I just want to talk about the teams that I would like to see and why I would like to see them and why they may possibly be viable. However, if you're here specifically to know the rumors and such, and what we think might be true and might actually, based on rumor and leak, etc., be coming, I will discuss that very quickly to not hold you up any longer than you need to, but hopefully you'll be here to just have a chat about a really cool game called Kill Team. Won't take long to get to that, don't worry. But yes, I am going to be talking about the teams that I think I would like to see. And this is a conversation as opposed to an informational piece, because one of the things about Kill Team is that we get a few different types of Kill Teams come down the pipeline. But one of the issues with the way Kill Team releases is, firstly, we don't have any form of roadmap at all, kind of. And because, unlike in 40k, where you know that every 3 years minimum, you will get a codex. Cool. You might not get anything else, but you'll probably get a codex. And so your team, your faction will continue to live. That is not how Kill Team works. Hypothetically, orcs might never ever get a Kill Team ever again. Right? Something like that. Or perhaps you are a Tau main, but you only want to play battle suits. Right? That's your thing. Well, you might never ever get a Kill Team for yourself. A lot of people are in love with a particular faction, but not just the faction as a whole. They like a specific niche within that faction. Perhaps if you are a Drukhari player, obviously Drukhari just getting a codex this weekend or soon, right? I think. But you're only a, what are they called? Covens? The fleshy dudes. Oh my god, I know Drukhari. Why can't I think of the name? The flesh covens, the homunculus slags, whatever they're called. Perhaps you will never ever get a kill team. You'll be able to play Hand of the Archon, you'll be able to play Beastmasters, maybe, you'll be able to play Witches, you'll be able to play Cabalites, but you don't get to play homunculus people. Covens? Flesh covens? I don't know. Cool. There you go. So that's a bit of an issue for us. So with that said, let's shrinkify me. We can do this little presentation here. I put a few of my models up there just for funsies, because that's life. There you go. Right. So, hey, Kill Team. We get 2 teams every 3 months. That is how Kill Team works. Every now and again, we might get an additional one. This is going to be like every 3 years when we get additional starter teams. It seems that's the process. They came out of order. Nice. That's why. Doesn't matter. Because we get 2 teams every 3 months, that means that we get 12 teams a year. How about that? Is that right? Yeah, probably. Yeah, ish. Cool. Let's not do maths. That slows me down. And that means that a lot of these teams are, for most people, going to be actually pretty boring. It's very hard to do banger after banger after banger. Some things just aren't up people's alleys, if you will. Who knows why I then put a box of sanctifiers under the idea that some teams will be very boring. I'll talk about that in a moment, but you get it. There are, in Kill Team, 3 types of kill teams. Feel free to correct me if you think I'm wrong on this. Maybe I'm overgeneralizing here, but in general, I reckon there are 3 types of kill teams. We get updated 40k units. This is where we have an old unit, for example, striking scorpions or mandrakes or upcoming Nemesis Claw, the Murder Wing. This is an old sculpt that needs to be updated. So we take that old unit, we just get basically the same unit, but updated. There you go. What does updated mean? It means new sculpts, new tech, awesome, and they're going to be about 3 mil taller. That's roughly how much taller new sculpts are compared to old ones. There you go. Cool. We get new 40k units. So the new 40k units, these are things like goremongers. That's a good example. And if I'd sat down and thought about it a bit more, I would have thought of other examples. But goremongers are a good example, because goremongers are a unit that goes into the World Eaters Codex, and World Eaters needed a new unit. Novitiates, that's another good example. It's a new unit for 40k that the army for 40k needed. There you go. So these make a lot of sense from many perspectives because the 40k players need their new unit for their faction, and for Kill Team, we need the unit because we need all of them, obviously. And then you get background lore. These are, some people refer to these as Imperial Weirdo teams. I would generally say the background lore teams are things like Navy Breachers, like Sanctifiers, like Adeptus Arbites. As you can tell, they tend to be very Imperium based because you got to put out the Imperium because that gets the most sales, right? Of course you do. And they are things that have not had models in the past, but they have been mentioned in background lore, but have just never had a model. And, you know, in fairness, they tend to make pretty decent kill teams because you get the specialists, and that's really cool. And most kill teams fall into one of these three. Obviously, we're not talking about any of the White Dwarf teams. They're just a mishmash of existing models, but dedicated kill teams tend to be made up by one of these three. Now, let's quickly get on to, for those of you that have been waiting around just to hear the official rumors and leaks. To be clear, I don't pay huge amounts of attention to these. They all come almost exclusively from Chapter Master Valrak. He's the guy doing the actual rumor. The leaks that we got from like the Spanish pages of the upcoming Murderwing stuff, we don't know where that came from. That was a whole crazy thing. Past, no clue. They were one-offs, it seems. But any rumors come from Chapter Master Valrak, so of course go and check him out if you want the hottest things. He tends to do his leaks on, or his rumors, sorry, on Mondays, so consider checking him out for the earliest source. But they get spread around very quickly, so if you're on Facebook, Reddit, other channels, you will, it all trickles down. It's the true trickle-down economy right here. Rumors from Chapter Master Valrak. So I believe that what he says is that he's still expecting Grey Knights this year. So that's the thing. However, from what he's said lately, he hasn't really said anything firm about the next few boxes, which means that I wouldn't put any value behind it yet, which is actually quite strange because normally the way the rumors work is that once a box has released and is in the wild, we then start to get the next rumor coming down, and it's normally a very strong, it's going to be these two teams. And he never knows specifics, but he knows the two teams. There you go. At the moment, he's only said Grey Knights. He hasn't said a strong Grey Knights. He's just mentioned them, in essence. However, there is, I don't know if this is rumor or if this is speculation that I've seen online, and you know, one person says something in a particular way and then somebody else says, oh yeah, this guy told me this is exactly what's happening. Very hard to figure out, truth to be told. But that is that every box this season is going to have a Space Marine team. That's interesting. So obviously we've just had Deathwatch release. We've had it confirmed that release 3 or 4, we don't know exactly, is going to have the Murderwing team. So that's 2 Space Marines out of 4 boxes for this season. And if the current rumor is Grey Knights, that's 3 out of the 4 boxes. Why not do a 4th, frankly? We've definitely seen that so far for the last season, you know, the Volcus season, every single box has had an Imperium team. They're being very strong on that. So far, we've continued that. We've had Deathwatch. We're going to be having the Sisters. I can't remember what they're called now. So it seems like we're guaranteed, basically, 2 more Imperium teams. Why not make them 2 Space Marine teams? Yeah, so there you go. Now, again, this is a very loose rumor and speculation at this point, but it's something to keep in mind. If I had to actually put down my official guess, I don't know. There you go. Right, moving on. There you go. If you just wanted to know the official rumor, that's it. Possibly Grey Knights. It's a soft Grey Knights at the moment. I would not say a hard Grey Knights. It's a soft Grey Knights. There you go. Okay, right. So now I'm going to talk about the teams that I would like to see in the game because you know, I'm a Reddit lurker. I try not to post there. I think that self promotion is pretty cringe. You know, good luck to the smaller guys that do that. The bigger guys shouldn't do that anymore. But I'm there. I lurk. I sometimes comment on people's posts saying, "Cool hobby, dude." You know, because that's all I want to bring to the world these days. And every now and again, every month, every 2 weeks, there is somebody saying, "Hey, what do you think the next team is?" And people just talk about the teams they want to see. And often you get things that are wild and out there, and they're like, "Oh, I want this crazy thing," and blah blah blah. And it's like that's not how Kill Team works. That's it's cool that you want that. Obviously, fine, good for you, but you've made something up that is not even within the realms of possibility of the Kill Team sales model. Why have you said this? Anyway, cool. So anyway, getting on to this is me doing that. I have a YouTube channel. I like Kill Team. I want to talk about the things that I want to see in Kill Team. Nice. There you go. So I like elites. Give me more of those. The idea that we get a Space Marine faction in all 4 boxes this year, I'm in there. I love it. Big fan. But it doesn't even have to just be Space Marines. I just like elites. The game plays faster. I've enjoyed my Ravener. I've enjoyed my Death Watch. Cool. Give me more. There you go. I see no negative to having more elites in the game. You know, I went to a tournament with Raveners and I played very fast games, and that was good. If my opponent was slow, that was a separate issue. But my games were very quickly. I just the other day played a game where I was Deathwatch into Raveners. It was a chilled game, just me and a friend, and we finished in like an hour. We just smashed it out and like, oh great, we've got loads of time to just chill. Way more my speed. Cool. Okay, so with that said, let's go through my. These aren't necessarily in order. I'm also going to talk about the teams that I see mentioned a lot, and I don't want because I see them mentioned so often. I'm just like, nah. But of course, before we talk about that, hey, have you ever bought Warhammer? Consider doing it using my affiliate links. That'd be very cool. Element Games in the UK, Whaling Games in the UK, Wargame Portal in the US. Also have a bunch of super cool, like Kill Team equipment. If you want to use some of that, that'd be cool. And that would, of course, help you beat off your opponent. I can't think of another way to phrase that. Thank you. Using any of my codes, my clicks, my links, etc. Pinned in the top comment, you will see that you get some money off. They're mainly Etsy stores, but also their own site sometimes. So cool. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get straight into it. I think everybody probably knows what my first guess is. I want Grey Knights. Guys, I want Grey Knights so bad. Grey Knights are so cool. Yes, I'm fully on board. You know, you hear these people that are like, oh, Matt Ward ruined the Grey Knight lore. It's like, no, he made the Grey Knight lore. Grey Knights are awesome. Now, to be clear, Grey Knights officially can't be Primaris-ified, which I think is fair. That's fine, because we just have to look at this one model here to say that, oh yeah, they don't need to be Primaris-sized to still look cool. Great. Just give me a 10-man squad of them. Locked in. Big fan. Hell yeah. You cannot go wrong. These guys are so cool. Now, are they going to end up as a mixed unit, a true, like an additional team for the Grey Knight team, faction in 40k? There will be like a mixture of specialists. So you have like a strike team guy led by a paladin, but you've also got a, I've forgotten all of their names. Just off the top of my head, gone. But you basically get one of each of the different guys in there. Maybe that's the thing. Or are they just 5 strike team guys? And of course, they're a 5-man team. It couldn't be anything else, obviously. That'd be super cool. This is definitely top of my list. There you go. I would love a Grey Knight team. This is the next team I actually want to see. If the rumors of Grey Knights are true, big fan. Secondarily to that would be Legion of the Damned. I don't expect Legion of the Damned to ever actually release, but if they do, that would be cool. This is one of those ones where I think it's such an out there shot, right? It's a model line that used to exist, but I don't think it's existed since 3rd. I don't think they even appeared in 4th edition codexes. That's how long they've been gone. You know, we're talking like 15 years. maybe longer, but yeah, probably like 20 years since these guys have had a model or had a codex entry. But they're Space Marines wreathed in flame. Like, of course I want them. And new lore for Legion of the Damned would also be super interesting because Grey Knights, we know what the lore for Grey Knights is going to be. It's going to be a super, super tiny minor iteration from the 40k codex that doesn't really change anything. Legion of the Damned, because they haven't been included for a very long time, the lore would be fresh. And it would then be the definitive lore that doesn't have to be muddied by background sources. That'd be very cool. Okay, we then move on to that's demons. So here's the thing with demons. I'm not really a demon lover, but demons are so core to the identity of 40k that to not have demons seems so strange. And yeah, I don't know. It feels like we have to have a demons team. Now I do agree. Maybe the team has to be limited to only Seeker Destroy as TAC ops because it doesn't make sense for them to get access to anything else. But that's fine. Now, I've put Be'lakor in there partly because that's the model I painted, but also because I think that a great team that fits in with something that GW might actually do is something like the Scions of Be'lakor or Sons of Shadow or the Shadows of the Warp, something like that. I don't know. Because in case you don't know, over in 40k land, they've actually removed, in essence, the demon faction. It's highly speculated that the demons as a faction, as a standalone faction, are gone next edition. And instead, you just get to use the specific Chaos God aligned demon in the specific Chaos God aligned Space Marine, Chaos Space Marine book. So, the Plague Bearers can be taken only by Nurgle, etc., etc., right? And just demons as a faction are gone. So if I were to just say, yeah, redo the Bloodletter kit and make them a kill team, I don't think that's realistic. I don't think that it seems that GW doesn't want to do that for its game anymore. It is moving away from demons as a core theme of its setting. But that would be crazy to do that wholeheartedly. So what is a little bit more in line with perhaps GW's view is just a one-off kit. Be'lakor is a brand new demon model. He's probably the most recent, unless they did anything for the Slanesh. But therefore, we can build upon that. We can take something that is unique to Be'lakor, and therefore Scions of Be'lakor. That'd be fire. I'd be a big fan. 10/10 would bang. We then get over to the Tau. Now, I've included one of my Tau converted Space Marines here. I don't want a Tau converted Space Marine. I want an elite Tau team. If you're looking at Tau at the moment, you have the options of Vespid, who are not Tau, and Farstalkers, who are not Tau. Pathfinders are gone, obviously, in regards to actual comp play, and so to not have an actual Tau on the board feels very strange. And of course, then what I want on the board is an elite team. I'm not expecting to get a crisis suit, although that would be fire. I'm expecting stealth suits. Now, there has been speculation that stealth suits are coming, but nothing official, nothing from the man himself, just random people who online saying, oh no, I've heard it's coming. It's like, who are you? What's your proof? And nobody has any, obviously. So there you go. I would love Tau stealth suits, or in some way an elite team. It doesn't have to be purely stealth suits. That is another thing. I also don't like new stealth suits, hence why I use this model instead of an actual stealth suit that I have, because I would prefer them to go back towards being a little bit less weird NASA style spacesuit and more how it used to be. There you go. With the XV-15 stealth suit, which was just a bit more heavily armored Tau dude, which is obviously super cool. Why not give us more of that? I would say another thing I like elites. If you just give me 6-man elite team, or maybe it's a 7-man team for stealth suits, something like that. A 7-man Tau stealth suit team, and on top of that, like that's good. But you could also give me like 2 stealth suits and the rest of the team, which would be drones. Now, the reason I like that isn't, well, I love drones, actually, that's a bad example, but I like disparity. So for example, if you're thinking about Brood Brothers, having your big patriarch on the board is cool. Not so much because I think the patriarch is cool, but having the patriarch surrounded by a bunch of little dudes is cool. I really like that. If I were able to have a Space Marine surrounded by a bunch of vet guard or something, scouts maybe, that would make the Space Marine himself cooler because of what is surrounding him than if it was a Space Marine surrounded by other Space Marines. Are you with me? So there you go, something to consider. I like that. Being able to power scale within a team is very cool to me. Admech. Now, I know we just had Battleclade, and I'm not saying that the Battleclade team is bad. However, it is bad. And what I actually want from Admech is for them to basically be the Eldar of the Imperium, right? I want Admech to be the glass cannons of the Imperium. They hit really hard with their crazy, weird tech, but they also die super quick. And so I basically want the Admech to get another model, which they probably could use in 40k. It's a relatively limited army. It's also very expensive, but let's not talk about that. And I want them to be the Hunter Clade, but really just new, fresh Admech models that are looking super cool and are very fast. Basically, Imperial Eldar. It would kind of be the mission statement for them. Alternatively, I would say, actually, if you see on this picture, our man back here, you can see my cursor, good. I would also accept an additional level of the priesthood. Those models are looking very dated at the moment, so refreshes of those would be very interesting, and I would take that as a new Admech team, even though that's not what I want. I would prefer the actual Skitarii style models, but yeah, there you go. Necrons, no more need be said. I wanted melee Necrons. I do not dislike Canoptek Circle. I think they're very interesting. I really like a lot of what they've done with that team. It's very cool. Looks like they probably need some nerfs in the future, but that's fine. Life happens. But I wanted a melee team. I wanted melee Necrons. There you go. Doesn't have to be flayed ones. Doesn't even have to be destroyer cults. Could be a different take. But I would assume it would be flayed ones. There you go. All right, fine. Seer Council. I tried to make my own Seer Council. I was going to proxy Warlocks, Eldar Warlocks for Mandrakes, because Mandrakes are a really good team. If you want a team that doesn't work like a normal team, Mandrakes are a great team that you should go for. For example, my demon suggestion earlier, they could just be Mandrakes. Like, Mandrakes play how I think demons should probably play. Mandrakes play almost how I think a Seer Council could play, or at least it would be a very good proxy option. What I mean by that is that for a Seer Council, I want whatever, 6 elves, 7 elves, I don't know, something like that. More elite than Aspect Warriors and Harlequins, right? Because you get additional psychic powers, whatever. Your 3 AP elbow. Or 2.5 with the 0.5 being your psychic power, something like that, right? But Warlock models, it's like they made the mold overscaled. Warlocks are really large Eldar models, and Mandrakes are tiny models. Yeah, so it very much wasn't a case that I could just take a Warlock and put it onto a 28mm base instead of the 32, and it worked. There are so many models that you can do that for. Mandrakes are not the models. Mandrakes are one of the hardest teams to proxy. Let me tell you that, because they're such short models. They're just short, very annoying. But so I'd love a Seer Council team. Yeah, it probably wouldn't be 6 models because that Space Marines remit. We'll let them have that. I'm thinking 7, so more elite than the 8s. But yeah, 7 models. And of course, they're all focused around different psychic powers. Whether you're doing kind of a warp coven style, where each of the different warp powers, each of the different powered guys have their own data sheet and you can pick one of each. And so you just get 7 different data sheets. That'd be a lot to figure out, but fine. Or if you do a little bit more striking scorpion style aspect warrior, what are they called? Dire Avengers. No, I'm just listing the aspect warriors. Blades of Cain, a little bit more that style where you just get 7 generic Seer Council warlocks, plus, well, 6 plus a Farseer, obviously. And then you do a thing. Also, you can mix it up. Maybe it is a 6-man team because you get 5 warlocks and then one, or maybe no. If you were gonna take a wraith guard, you would have to have a spirit dude, wouldn't you? A spirit seer. It's something to figure out. There's definitely options. Is all I'm saying. I'd love a Seer Council. That'd be awesome. Cool. Because ultimately, I am a Xenos lover. We then get to the beast, the Drukhari. Look, I'm a Xenos lover. I love elves. It just is how it is. And I do like Drukhari as well, despite the fact that at the beginning of this video, I could not remember what they were called. Not the point. I think that in reality, you have 2 realistic picks for a Drukhari kill team, and it's the Beastmaster pack or Court of the Archon. Now, Court of the Archon is very, I would say, kill team coded because it's a bunch of different specialists. Cool. However, it seems like the less likely pick because it is an HQ unit. Not that that technically exists in 40k anymore, but it is an escort unit that used to be an HQ unit that you could attach another HQ to. And so I just feel like it's a little bit less likely. Whereas the Beastmaster is a cool version of, you get a dude that can go anywhere with his massive jump pack. Awesome. Love it. And then you get a bunch of different beasts. You get the Razor Flock, you get the Chimera, and you get a big dude. You could also get new ones, but I assume those 3 would stick, which means you get lots of different profiles to play around with, which perhaps means that you could do some lists, some roster playing around with there, blah, blah, blah. Very cool. Very cool. I'm a big fan of the idea that we could do a Beastmaster team for Drukhari. We then go to the 2 teams that I see mentioned all the time, but that either I do not want or I don't think are realistic. And let's get straight into it. Let's not dilly-dally. Exodites. Guys, elves on dinosaurs are a meme. They're a fun meme. They're cool, but this just doesn't make sense. Now, I've put Dark Elf Cold One Knights up there because these have literally existed. There you go. My reason that the Exodites don't need to exist is that, have you seen the Seraphon models? You literally just need to take a Corsair and stick it on top of an Agrodon, and you've created Exodites. There's genuinely nothing else for GW to do, to the point that I don't know what GW would do without just building an Agrodon and putting a rider that looks like a Corsair into the box, which is fine. That would be a great kit, except those already exist. And that's why I don't think Exodites will exist, because I do not think that GW would be able to escape the allegation of they've literally just taken an Agrodon and put a Corsair on the box. Because I don't know where they can go from those 2 already brilliant models, which are also like brand new. There you go. Those are my thoughts. The reason Exodites can't exist is because the models already exist, and it's behoven to you to just buy the 2 kits and put them together. There you go. That is the Exodites. Just to clarify, any race is inherently better by putting it on top of a dinosaur. I agree with that concept. I just don't see it happening because the models exist. Cool. And then, now this is a bit of, this next one is possibly my craziest take to say that they won't do it. I'm also not saying they won't do it. Okay. The Catachan. Now, I see the Catachan mentioned all the time, and I see the reason, I see the logic behind why they will be released in Kill Team, in the same way that we got a refresh of Deathgore of Krieg starting with the Kill Team in Kill Team, right? And we know that looking at the 40k codex, you can get Acadian squad, you can get a Deathcore of Krieg squad, and you can get a Cadian squad, but the Cadians are old AF models that look terrible compared to everything else. So we know 100% there will be a new Catachan kit. Guaranteed. We can even guess that it's going to happen in the next edition of 40k. So we're talking within 3 years, we will get a new Catachan kit. So why am I saying I don't want it? Because I agree it's going to happen. 100%, this kit will happen. Why don't I want it for Kill Team? Because I don't want 10 generic dudes for Kill Team. There you go. And we know what an Imperial team looks like. We know that it's going to be a guy with comms, and it's going to be a guy with an Auspex, and it's going to be a guy with a melter, and a guy with a flamer, and then it's like, oh yeah, okay, I've seen this team before. Cool. What makes it better or worse than Acadian? Why have we released? I mean, Catachan. Catachan are in a terrible state, and for them to be a 10 model team, and then we get Catachans added in as a 10 model team, and Catachans are beating Catachan like in power level because they will, because Catachan is sucking. That's going to be real rough for the Catachan. It doesn't make any sense. So actually, the Catachan are going to have to be a 14 model team again to be in line with how the Deathcore of Krieg were, right? So it's a 2-box team. Great. And it's like, I just don't see it working as a good kill team. Hypothetically, if I want my Catachan, I'm not against Catachans. I think Catachans are cool. I was right there with everybody else as a youngster looking at greased up, oiled up big men in the jungle fighting an alien. I was there. I thought that was cool. It wasn't life defining for me, but you know, pretty homoerotic thoughts, I can't lie, as we all had. And I just feel like that's the team I want. I want the Commandos team. I want the elite Commandos. I don't want the generic Catachan squad, which, because of the mechanics of Kill Team, can only be built, or sorry, can only be given the roster in a very specific way so that it does fit in line with the rest of Kill Team. They really can't deviate too far from how they build all the Imperial kill teams. And that's a frustration for me. If you give me a Catachan kill team that is basically Gaunt's Ghosts but Catachanized, I'm there. GW is already doing this. GW is already doing the Catachan models that I want in the form of every 3 years they release a new Catachan kernel, which is limited edition and nobody can bloody get hold of unless you're buying it through illegal means, because they've become crazily expensive. I want those. I want the Catachan kernel team. Just give me all of them, which, yes, we all know are just literally the guys from Predator. Just give me them, right? And I'll play that. That's the team I want. Give me a team of Sly Marbos. Don't give me 10 dudes. But because it's Kill Team, they will give us 10 dudes. They will not give us Catachan Gaunt's Ghosts, which is what I want. And that is why I say I do not want Catachan, because I understand that we are going to get, due to practicality reasons, the 10 model box that can also be bought by 40k players to make their Catachan army. We're not getting the elite HQ squad for Kill Team. But if we do get the elite HQ squad, which is just a bunch of Catachan kernels, which is just Gaunt's Ghost Catachan edition, I'm all in. That might be my team. Because you know what? So easy to paint. Single coat. Willem and Flesh, done. Catachan team, done. I'm into it. There you go. There you go. Those are my final thoughts. Let me know what you think. There you go. What do you think about that crazy takes? What teams have I not mentioned that you think is like, oh, but Andy, this is the team I always see mentioned? Because presumably it's a team I've just completely blanked from my mind, that I'm like, oh yeah, I also see that team mentioned, and I just forget that it exists because I don't want it. There you go. Let me know. Again, if you're ever buying Warhammer in the UK or the US, if you could click my affiliate links, that'd be awesome. But you should always click somebody's affiliate link because it's just free extra money and a great way to support your content creators. We all buy Warhammer. Obviously, we all have that crippling addiction. So support your friendly local creator in a way that costs you no extra money. And again, if you want any cool kill team stuff, I have links that gives you discounts with those below. Thank you. Have a good one. Goodbye.